How many times have you seen this? Somebody on the street texting or talking on a smartphone with their head down. They can be a serious danger to themselves and certainly to others.
The latest government figures show pedestrian deaths in America rose by 4.2% last year. Injuries shot up 19%. Seth Doane is here to show us what officials are doing to stop it. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Injuries to distracted walkers have quadrupled in the past 7 years, according to emergency room numbers. And that's likely a low estimate because either patients don't admit a cell phone was involved or doctors don't include that sort of detail on hospital reports. Safety experts say distracted walking is a growing problem. As a nation, we sent 12.2 million texts a month in 2000. By 2009, we send 135 billion a month. So many, it seems, we barely have time for anything else. So we multitask, or at least we try to. Bloopers posted online reveal that can mean walking into fountains or upstaging a reporter's live shot. Then there are the far more serious missteps. This video shows a distracted man talking on his cell phone near a Philadelphia area train station. He stumbles and falls onto the tracks. Luckily, no train was approaching at the time. More than 1,100 people wound up in hospital emergency rooms in the last year for injuries caused when walking and using a cell phone or electronic device.
If you're on the phone, if you're text messaging, if you're browsing the internet, our research suggests that increases your risk of being hit by a car.
Professor David Schwiebel studies the problem at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Using a virtual world, his team can gauge response times and human error when crossing the street and texting. What's happening in our brains when we're texting and walking?
Walking actually involves a fair amount of complexity. Our brain has to work hard to walk safely, especially near traffic. Our brain also has to work hard to text message. It has to think about what you're reading, how to respond, how to type. Brains can only handle so much. If we give the brain too much to do, mistakes can happen.
That's what Fort Lee, New Jersey Police Chief Thomas Rapoli found. In his suburban community located just outside New York City, 40 pedestrians have been struck by vehicles already this year.
People are texting on their cell phones and their iPods, and they're not paying attention.
So this spring, the chief dusted off an anti-jaywalking law that had been on the books here since the 1950s. He told his officers to hand out $54 tickets to deter people from crossing the street illegally while texting. A number of municipalities have tried other methods. A no texting ordinance at crosswalks in Idaho, painted crosswalks in Delaware, and padded lampposts in London. There's even an iPhone app that displays the road below, but that doesn't do much for peripheral vision.
She's not even looking
up, and she's in the middle of the street.
And she's shading her phone to see better. She's really putting herself at risk.
We asked Professor Schwiebel to show us what worries him at a busy New York City intersection. All of us think that we can handle it, that we can text and walk at the same time. Can some of us?
A good question. We do think that we're good at crossing the street and texting. Our research suggests that it doesn't matter how experienced you are. Even the most experienced text messengers in our study made mistakes when they were distracted in crossing the virtual road.
Oh my gosh, I think you need to try that again.
Now, those of us who text receive on average more than 40 texts a day. And I'm guilty of this. I'm not just the reporter.
Yes,
I'm
right.
totally guilty in this distracted texting and walking.
Relate.
I mean, I can think of the number of times each day you walk down the street and you see somebody that doesn't see you and they're walking right at you.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things Professor Schwiebel said. We can look up when we cross the road. We're looking at traffic, but if we're still texting, we're not really paying attention. Our brains are not really engaged. She says, think of it like a glass of water. You're thinking about the weather. You're thinking about the emotion involved with the text, and then crossing the street, and then a driver comes and it just overflows.
Yeah.
And so this is a serious injury question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I thought you said it well in the piece, Seth, when you said everybody thinks we can do it. You know, it's like rev your head, do it at the same time, walk and chew gum. But the thing that frustrates me about this is it is 100% preventable. This does not have to happen.
No, you can just put down the phone, right? But we all do it. We're always
So do you think it
multitasking.
should be encouraged conduct or by law?
Oh, Charlie, I know I'm very wary of nanny state, but
Yeah.
I think ultimately, though, it may have to be a law because we are not going to change.
That's why I was asking about the
Because we
numbers. I
think
mean,
we can
and
do
is it an alarming rise in the number of injuries
It
because of
is.
this?
Yeah.
Quadrupling in the
You
past
certainly see it
7
in
years.
cars when people are distracted by doing. We know that from.
And a lot of the
That's a really good
experts said
question.
it's like with the cell phones. For a long time, we knew there was a problem with driving and cell phone use, but people weren't really keeping track of the numbers.
Yep.
It's the same thing with this, and now people are just starting to report.
All right, to be continued for sure.
Indeed.
Thank you, Seth Doane.